And yes, Miss Wennis is on today.
Okay, so if everybody's on E10, can I get a volunteer to read the standards? Not all concepts. I can explain why equals mx plus b is a linear function. I can interpret the slope and y intercept and translate function. I can write a linear function in that model is a given situation using all representatives. I can identify an initial value relation between the y intercept and the situation. Okay, thanks. I'm going to point out just 3 things. The first thing is this word linear. Does somebody remember what linear means? Straight line. Yeah, you can add that to your notes if you want. Straight line. It's right in the name, so if you forget, it says line right in the word linear. Second thing, this word initial. So if I can define the initial value, that means our beginning. We remember beginning is our b value. So that is the same. Our initial value is our y-intercept. The last thing is right here, in a situation. So a lot of times you'll see word problems on your tests and in your homework. That means you need to not only be able to tell me the y-intercept is 7, or 0, 7, but you also need to tell me what that means. So that means something's starting. There are 7 students in the classroom at the beginning of class. So you need to be able to say not only the answer, but also what that means. So that students have something more than just you. So first we're going to practice. So identify the slope and the y-intercept for each equation. You've done this. This should be a review from what you've been doing the past couple of days. But we'll do the first one together. So you've got y equals negative 2x plus 7. For each one of these, we're doing the slope and the y-intercept. So I'd like you to write m equals, and then as a ratio for your slope. And then I also want you to write b equals, and then an ordered pair. Third thing, I'll put a box, but just I'd like you to write if it's up to the right, down to the right, horizontal, or vertical. So your direction of your line. So for this first one, I've got an equation in the form y equals mx plus b. Can somebody tell me how can we find our m value? Where is our m value? Yeah, the number right by the x. Oh. So negative 2. And as a ratio, what would that be? Negative 2 over 1. Okay. Andrew, could you tell me our b value?
0, 7.
0, 7. And then, Rachel, what would the direction of our line be? Negative, yep, so down to the right. If you look at our little down to the right. So go ahead and do the other 3. Make sure you have m equals and then a ratio, b equals and a point, and you have that direction of your line. I'll come around and pick 3 of you to come and write your answers up on the board for 3 of them. So if you have one that you want to show, you can raise your hand. One thing I'd like to point out on this first one, sorry to interrupt you, but on this first one, we've got a 7y right here. Remember that we can't find our m or our b until we have it in this y equals mx plus b form. So you're going to have to deal with this 7y. Talk to your shoulder partner, make sure you have the same answer.
Yep, you're just going to grab that hand. Yep, you should be able to write. Oh, is it not writing?
understood plus 0 right here. So, where's my b? That's kind of like hard to see, but if you just got a term with the x, you understand that there's a plus 0 there. So your intercept is at 0, 0. And then it's a positive slope, your direction of your line is up and to the right. Now the second one, to get rid of this 7 right here, it's multiplied to the y, so we need to divide by 7 on the right and left side. So we're left with y equals negative 2x. Y equals negative 2x right here. And then our slope is negative 2 over 1, and our b is 0, 0. Okay, I'm going to answer this next one, and can somebody raise their hand and tell me what's wrong with this? Got m equals 10 over 1, b equals 0, 0. My direction will be up and to the right. Yes. 10 is not in m, it is b, because there's no x. So with the information I've got right here, I've got my m as 10 over 1. M goes with the x, so my equation would look like this. Y equals 10x plus b, or plus, 0, I guess I put as 0. That's not what we started with. We started with y equals 10. So instead, and I saw that on about half of your papers, so it's an important error to discuss. Instead, our m, since there's no term with the x, is 0, or you can write that as 0 over 1. And our b is 0, 10. Does anybody still have questions on that one? Did you got it?
So it was a good way of how you explained it too. So when we looked at that, our slope, we can just, we couldn't leave it as 0 over 1, but it's just simply 0. And then what's the slant of that one? Remember our 0 slopes? What did we do on the calculator, graphing calculator? Look at our face. What's a 0 slope? Horizontal, right? So looking at that face can kind of help you out as you're looking at that.
Okay, on to the next part. It says graph the following equations by using the slope and y-intercept. So again, for each of these, I'd like you to identify our b as an ordered pair, our m as a ratio, and then the direction of our line. We can do this first one together for any of you that are still kind of confused about this. It's in the form y equals mx plus b. So when I'm looking for my m, I'm looking for that term with the x. So I have here, I have a negative 2/3. So that's what I'm going to put for my m, negative 2 over 3. And then our b term is this what's added right here. So it's 2, so I'm going to put this 0.02. And our direction of our line is negative. I looked at the slope guy. Negative is down and to the right. And then when I go to graph, we always start with the b because we remember it like beginning. Our b is our beginning point. We begin with 0, 2. And then our slope, or m, that's how we move. So from there, we are going to rise, so negative 2, down 2. And to the right, 1, 2, 3. And then we can also go the other way. So we can go up 2 and to the left 3. And the reason why we can do that is you can go negative 2/3. That's the same as 2 over negative 3. So that would be the same as rising 2 and going to the left 3. So we connect our lines. I can give you as protractors. If you would just have one protractor per group, that would be fine. 0, negative 4 was our y-intercept. We started at a point of 0, negative 4, and then we went up 6 and over 1. And our direction is a positive. And then on this one, we started at 0, 0 because there's no b term right there. We started at 0, 0, we went up 4 and over 3. And then the same, we went down 4 and to the left 3. The This next one should be a review. We've got write an equation in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is our y equals mx plus b using the given information. So they give you your slope and they give you your y-intercept. So for these first two, we'll write your equations and then talk to your shoulder partner and see if they got the same thing. So our slope, that's our m. Y-intercept is b. Y equals 5x plus -7. If somebody had y equals 5x minus 7, that's the same thing. Plus a negative or minus a positive, that's the same thing. So we have the second one, maybe Nathaniel in the back. Do you have the second one? Not okay. What about your partner? Y equals 42 plus 10. Another common mistake is to put y equals 0.25 plus 10. But if you do that, that's a horizontal line. So, like Mrs. Thompson said earlier, just make sure you have your x. On the bottom, we're going to be writing equations again, but this time we're given the graph. So, looking at this graph, I want you to identify your b value, your y-intercept. I want you to identify your slope in a ratio. And then, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a ratio, I guess you're writing an equation. But from that information, write your equation. For the second one, our b value, our y-intercept is at the point 0, 0. So we know we're going to have a plus 0 that we don't really need to write. So we just need to figure out our slope. Our slope we can count, go down, if we use the points they gave us, go down 1, 2, 3, 4, -4, and then over 2. But that can be simplified. So we want it as simple as you can get. So that would just be a -2, or -2 over 1. So you get y equals our m value of -2x plus our b value of 0, or you can just leave that part off.
So here's something I saw on a few papers, and I haven't seen it a lot today, but I've seen it a few times. And people were doing this. And they said, well, can I write y equals 1/4 and put the x down with the 4 plus 1. And actually, if we put that in the Desmos calculator, you get this really weird shaped curve if the x is in the denominator. So this is, ours are linear. And anytime it's linear, it has to make a straight line. So you want that, it's like 1/4 times x. It is like, and so I saw -2 over 1 with x down here. The x can't be on the bottom. So that's kind of a really important point, is that it's times that, okay? So just be really careful with that. I hadn't seen it a lot today, but we're trying to figure out those little mistakes people are making. Sometimes it's just the counting. Some of you will put this as a 5 instead of 4. So just, when you check your answers in the back, just make sure it's making sense to you, all those little things.
Okay, this last one's a word problem. So if I could have Treasure, could you read the, starting at the small swimming pool?
The small swimming pool in the backyard of the lake. The amount of water in the pool over time is graphed.
Okay, this is an example of one of those real world situations. So we have a swimming pool with a leak. What we're going to do is we're going to identify the slope and the y-intercept. We're given the graph over here. And then we're going to explain what those two numbers mean in context. So, looking at this graph here, can somebody tell me what's our y-intercept? How about Lily?
120.
If it's this point right here.
Yeah.
Got 0, 120. And then talk to your shoulder partner. What's our slope?
And we're going to give you a nice point on the line because it's kind of hard. We're going to give you this one above the 5, right there.
And that's over here, like kind of.
So this is 20/40. It looks better in your notes than up here. It's odd. Okay, so look at your notes and put that point on there.
So talk to the person next to you. What is the slope?
What do you think that slope is?
Chastity, did you get an answer? 4/5. So that came up in the last class too. I want you to pay special attention over here to our scale. So it did go down 4 tick marks, that would be a negative. It did go down 4 tick marks, but it didn't go down 4.
It went down 100.
Went down, well, this is 40.
Oh.
So it went down from 120 to 40. So quick mental math, what's 120 minus 40? 80. So we've got a slope of negative 80. And then it went over, these tick marks are by 1, so we went over 5. Another quick mental math, what's negative 80 divided by 5? That was tricky. Close. Negative 16. So what I'm going to have you do is in the box, this is kind of long, but write everything in the blue. The answer we have down is the slope is negative 16. This means that the pool is leaking 16 gallons of water every minute. The important things in this answer is that you say what the slope is, it's negative 16, and that you explain what that means in the context of the problem. So it means that the pool is leaking. That shows us that you know that the slope is negative. And then it's leaking 16 gallons of water every minute. You tie in both the variable of how much water and the variable of time, the minutes, your x and y axis. So on a test, that's what Mrs. Thompson is going to look for, is that you have identified the slope and then you've also explained what it means.
And I'll tell you that probably just like this, we just had one very similar to this on our algebra final. So when we did this one in the algebra final, I had people put negative 4/5. And then they told me the pool was leaking. Even though I had all the labels and all the numbers, they told me it was leaking out only 4/5, not even 1 gallon per minute, when actually it was 16. So it's quite a bit different, right? So making sure you're watching those scales. And if you see those mistakes now, at least you kind of figure it out and your brain kind of adjusts to it. So we're going to look at that y-intercept part too.
On the bottom, the y-intercept is 120. Again, write everything in blue. And this means that the pool started out with 120 gallons of water in it. The important things about this answer is that you say that the intercept is 120 and that it started out, that tells us it's the initial value. It started out with 120 gallons of water in it.
And someone asked me, can I put time 0? Yeah, because our minutes are at time 0 when it started, but kind of better to say that you started out.
Everyone have it written out? You got an elbow? He's got to be ready.